tonight. The city of David is one of the most famous excavation sites in Israel. And a new discovery is now giving archaeologists insight into the life of everyday Jerusalemites from 800 BC.
The city of David remains one of Israel's most extraordinary archaeological treasures. And now, a recent discovery is offering historians and archaeologists a vivid glimpse into the daily lives of Jerusalem's people more than 2,800 years ago. Imagine this. Buried deep beneath layers of history in the heart of Jerusalem, researchers have uncovered evidence that could reshape our entire understanding of biblical history. What if the stories of kings, battles, miracles, and triumphs weren't just matters of faith, but documented realities carved into stone? That's exactly what is happening today. Archaeologists working near the Pool of Siloam have unearthed a remarkable structure, a massive ancient dam, dating back nearly 2,800 years, long before King Hezekiah fortified Jerusalem. This isn't some dusty artifact to be tucked away in a museum. It's physical, undeniable proof that the Bible's accounts echo real history. And this dam doesn't just add another detail to the narrative. It fundamentally shifts our timeline of Jerusalem's ancient engineering and water systems. Think of it. The Bible's stories, often seen as allegorical or spiritual, are now surfacing in the form of stone, inscriptions, and architecture, tangible history preserved beneath centuries of earth. For more than a decade, researchers have unearthed structures confirming that Jerusalem's grandeur was no myth. And this discovery pushes us even further. The city's water infrastructure was flourishing centuries before Hezekiah, pointing to earlier rulers like Joash and Amaziah as key architects of Jerusalem's survival. The Pool of Siloam itself has long held enormous significance. In the New Testament, it's the place where Jesus healed the blind man, commanding him to wash and receive his sight. For Christians, this pool has been a pilgrimage site for centuries. But its roots run even deeper, back to the Old Testament, when King Hezekiah constructed his famous water tunnel to secure Jerusalem against the mighty Assyrian army. The Bible records Hezekiah's foresight in channeling water into the city, ensuring survival under siege. Yet the new discovery predates him by nearly 200 years. This ancient dam, carbon dated to between 880 and 795 BC, proves that Jerusalem's kings before Hezekiah were already engineering massive waterworks. The Bible describes Joash and Amaziah as temple restorers, but now we see they were also practical leaders, builders of dams and fortifications that sustained their people in an unforgiving land. The dam itself is a marvel. Built to store and redirect water, it was essential for life in arid Jerusalem. Such a project demanded extraordinary engineering skills and vision, confirming biblical accounts of Israel's rulers as master builders. What's astonishing is how these leaders balanced the sacred and the practical, strengthening Jerusalem spiritually through the temple, but also physically through life-sustaining water systems. This discovery challenges a common misconception, that Jerusalem's development was sudden and explosive under Hezekiah. Instead, archaeology shows a gradual progression, generations of kings laying the groundwork, each contributing to the city's growth. Hezekiah's tunnel may be the crown jewel, but this dam reveals a legacy of construction and foresight stretching back centuries. As always, archaeology breathes life into scripture. What skeptics dismissed as legend now emerges as stone, mortar, and inscriptions. The Pool of Siloam, Hezekiah's tunnel, and this newly found dam all connect to a broader story, that Jerusalem's biblical accounts reflect a real place, built by real hands, inhabited by real people. The discoveries extend beyond waterworks. Excavations in the city of David have revealed massive structures like the stepped stone structure and the large stone structure, believed to be connected to King David's palace. These colossal foundations prove Jerusalem was far more than a fortified hilltop. It was a thriving, sophisticated city worthy of its biblical descriptions. And then there are the seals. tiny clay impressions that carry enormous significance. Among them are names directly tied to the Bible, like Gemariah son of Shaphan and Baruch, the scribe of Jeremiah. These artifacts confirm that the figures we read about weren't just literary inventions. They walked the same streets, served the same kings, and left their mark in clay and ink. At the Pool of Siloam itself, more secrets continue to surface. Archaeologists have revealed massive steps leading down to the water, suggesting the pool was a large communal gathering place used for ritual purification, linking perfectly with the biblical accounts and the miracle of Jesus healing the blind man. When pieced together, these finds form a powerful mosaic. An ancient dam predating Hezekiah proves waterworks were established centuries earlier. Hezekiah's tunnel, confirmed by the Siloam inscription, demonstrates the engineering brilliance of his reign. Monumental stone structures reveal Jerusalem's grandeur in David's time. Seals and inscriptions tie biblical names to real, historic individuals. This continuous flow of evidence doesn't just confirm isolated stories. It reveals an unbroken timeline of Jerusalem's development, aligning the Bible with history in extraordinary ways. Consider the progression: the dam of Joash and Amaziah, Hezekiah's tunnel, the Pool of Siloam where Jesus performed a miracle. Each stage builds upon the last, connecting Old Testament kings with the New Testament Messiah. What we once thought of as legend is now material fact. The stones cry out, affirming that the Bible is not just faith literature, it's a record of real events. Archaeology is peeling back the layers of Jerusalem, turning scripture into visible, measurable history. And this is only the beginning. If a hidden dam can rewrite our understanding of the Bible, imagine what other secrets lie buried beneath Jerusalem's streets. Every stone uncovered, every inscription revealed, brings us closer to the truth that the Bible is not myth, but history made visible. Jerusalem's story isn't locked in ancient texts. It's alive, waiting to be unearthed. And with every discovery, the Bible's message becomes clearer, richer, and more undeniable. Reflection and implications of the discovery in the city of David. Archaeology is not just about stones, ruins, and broken pottery. It is about stories, memory, and identity. The recent discovery of a massive ancient dam in the city of David, dated nearly 2,800 years ago, is far more than an academic breakthrough. It is a mirror held up to humanity. This mirror forces us to ask deep questions. What does it mean for faith when the ground beneath us confirms what was once only read in Scripture? What does it mean for future generations, for other religions, and for our modern globalized world, when sacred texts find their evidence carved into stone? At its core, the discovery reminds us of a profound truth: human beings are storytellers. For millennia, our ancestors preserved their struggles, victories, fears, and faith in oral traditions and sacred writings. Skeptics often dismiss these as myths, symbolic parables disconnected from real history. Yet the stones unearthed in Jerusalem tell us otherwise. They show that stories carry fingerprints of truth. Implications for Christianity. For Christians, the discovery of such artifacts carries both reassurance and responsibility. It reassures believers that the Gospels and Old Testament are not only theological reflections but also rooted in actual history. The Pool of Siloam, where Jesus healed the blind man, is not a metaphor, it is a physical place. The dam built by earlier kings is not symbolic. It is stonework that you can touch. These findings strengthen the claim that Jesus entered a real historical world, not a mythical stage. But with reassurance comes responsibility. If the Bible is real history, then its message is not just a private spiritual comfort, it is a living call to transformation. Christians today must wrestle with this. If God acted in real time, among real people, then His words are binding in the here and now. This discovery leaves no room for faith as a casual lifestyle choice. It demands a response. Implications for Judaism. For Jews, the implications are even more personal. Jerusalem is not just any city, it is the heart of Jewish memory, longing, and identity. Every prayer facing the Temple Mount, every Passover story told, every psalm sung, is tied to this soil. To uncover engineering projects of ancient kings like Joash and Amaziah is to affirm that the Jewish people's ancient connection to this land is not simply theological, it is archaeological. This has powerful implications for Jewish continuity. In a world where Jewish history is often contested or denied, these discoveries provide a voice from the stones themselves, saying, "Yes, Israel lived here. Yes, kings ruled here. Yes, the temple was real. Yes, this land has always been tied to the covenant people." It also challenges Judaism to reflect on its present mission. If God preserved this history, if every stone cries out in witness, then perhaps the Jewish call is not only to remember but to teach the world how memory and faith sustain a people against all odds. Implications for Islam. For Muslims, Jerusalem is sacred as Al-Quds, home to Al-Aqsa Mosque and the site of the Prophet Muhammad's night journey. The discoveries of biblical-era artifacts do not negate Islamic belief, they enrich it. Islam reveres many biblical figures, from Abraham to David to Jesus. To see physical traces of these figures' world is to see confirmation that their stories were not invented but grounded in history. This should inspire a spirit of humility and shared reverence. If the ground beneath Jerusalem bears witness to God's work across generations, then Muslims and Christians and Jews alike share a common inheritance. Rather than deepen division, these findings can be a reminder that all Abrahamic faiths drink from the same ancient well. Implications for other faiths and the secular world. For Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, and followers of other religions, the discovery is still significant. It is a testament to the universal truth that humanity has always sought meaning, always built civilizations around sacred spaces, always linked the divine with the practical. Just as the Ganges is sacred to Hindus, or Bodh Gaya to Buddhists, so Jerusalem is sacred to the Abrahamic faiths. Archaeology confirms that the human instinct to sanctify space is timeless and global. For secular thinkers, this discovery is a challenge and an invitation. It challenges the assumption that religion is only myth or illusion. If ancient texts are found to align with archaeology, then perhaps religion deserves deeper respect as a custodian of history. At the same time, it invites us to see religion not as superstition, but as humanity's first library, a record of how people built, believed, and survived. Implications for Gen Z and future generations. Today's young people live in a digital age, where everything is questioned, fact-checked, and debated online. Many in Gen Z struggle with the credibility of religion, seeing it as outdated or unscientific. But discoveries like the City of David Dam speak directly to this generation. They say, faith is not blind. Faith is grounded in evidence. Faith and history walk hand in hand. For a generation hungry for authenticity, this is gold. It shows that you don't have to choose between belief and reality. You can hold a smartphone in one hand and a Bible in the other, and know that archaeology is bridging the gap between ancient faith and modern science. Implications for humanity as a whole. Beyond religion, this discovery carries a message for all mankind. Civilizations rise and fall, but truth endures. Kings build dams, tunnels, and palaces, but eventually they are buried. Yet their works resurface, centuries later, to remind us that nothing is forgotten. This should humble us. Today we build skyscrapers, digital empires, artificial intelligence, and global networks. But like the stones of Jerusalem, one day our works too will be covered by the sands of time. What legacy will we leave for future archaeologists? Will they find evidence of a generation that built wisely, or a civilization that crumbled under its own pride? The stones of Jerusalem remind us that human achievement is fleeting, but faith, memory, and divine purpose endure. Final reflection. The discovery of the 2,800-year-old dam in Jerusalem is not simply about confirming the Bible. It is about affirming the human story. It shows us that faith and history are not rivals, they are partners. It reminds Christians of their responsibility, Jews of their heritage, Muslims of their shared inheritance, other faiths of their parallel quests, and the secular world of the depth of humanity's spiritual memory. For Gen Z and generations to come, it is a wake-up call. The world beneath your feet is filled with truths waiting to be unearthed. And every truth uncovered whispers the same message: God has always been here, history has always mattered, and what you build today will speak to the world tomorrow.